On the 5th of May 2020, the man of God released a prophecy concerning the tension that will build up between America and China, in which he stated that the world at large must pray for a peaceful resolution on the issue. Let us listen to the words of the prophecy once more.
I've got a message for the United States of America. They need to pray because we cannot afford war. I see tension building up between America and one of the superpowers. I see America preparing missiles out of anger, wanting to go into battle, wanting to go into war. I see China being tempted to respond to the tension and the anger that the United States have got. We need to pray for the two nations, especially the United States. We need to pray. We cannot afford war, especially given the economic state that the world is in. America, the Lord has handpicked you to be a global leader, to be an example to other nations. This is where America needs to lead by example. This is where America needs to practice a character of leadership, a character of love. We cannot afford war. Our world cannot afford war, especially when we look at the pandemic that is destroying everything, that is destroying the way of life amongst men. We cannot afford that. This is a season for us to start repairing. This is a season for us as the inhabitants of the earth to start restoring our land, to start restoring our way of life, to start healing one another. It's not a time for tension. So I call upon all the pastors, all the prophets, evangelists, teachers of the word all around the world to unite and to be on their knees. I pray that the presidency of America may reason well with one another, may be able to sit down with China and deliberate. Other superpowers, we invite you to intervene, to calm the temper of these two superpowers. If care is not taken, things will get out of hand.
As a confirmation to what was spoken by the man of God through prophecy, there are breaking news reports of the tension that is fast flaring up between US and China over Taiwan, which this marks a clear confirmation of the prophecy.
Our top story, US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's brief stop in Taiwan has raised tensions in East Asia, and China now says it's cancelling several defence meetings with the US, as well as calling off key climate talks with Washington. Meanwhile, Beijing has announced sanctions on Pelosi and her immediate family for, and I quote, seriously interfering in China's internal affairs and seriously undermining China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the US House of Representatives, has said her visit was about paying respect to, quote, flourishing democracy on the island, which Beijing views as a breakaway province. In response to the trip, China has launched massive military drills all around Taiwan. It says the air and sea combat drills were for the purpose of, quote, continuously testing the joint combat capabilities of the Chinese armed forces. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry says several Chinese military planes and naval vessels have actually crossed into what had been an unofficial buffer zone between China and Taiwan for decades. Speaking to the press in Taipei, the Taiwanese premier called Beijing their evil neighbour.
As global tensions over Chinese military drills around Taiwan continue to spike, the relations between world superpowers United States and China worsen further. In the latest, China has decided to end cooperation with United States on several important issues. China's discontent over US leader Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit triggered huge military drills around Taiwan, which came after repeated warnings by Beijing against the same. And now Chinese Foreign Ministry has hit out at US suspending talks with cooperations. These suspensions include agreements on climate change as well. Remember, China and US had pledged to work together to accelerate policies to tackle climate crisis. However, now the fate of the deal seems uncertain. The National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby has criticized this move as quote-unquote fundamentally irresponsible. White House also confirmed that Washington had summoned the Chinese ambassador to US to condemn the quote-unquote irresponsible behavior of Beijing over Taiwan.
As we're talking about the demarche. After China's action, we summoned PRC ambassador to the White House on Thursday to demarche him about the PRC's provocative actions. We condemned the PRC's military actions, which are irresponsible, again, at odds with our long-standing goal of maintaining peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. We made clear to the ambassador that Beijing's actions are of concern to Taiwan, to us, and to our partners around the world.
Meanwhile, China has announced that its military drills around Taiwan will continue till Sunday. Taiwan reported that 68 Chinese planes and 13 warships crossed the median line that runs down the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan's defense ministry said in the latest statement, and I quote, "We condemn the communist military for deliberately crossing the median line of the strait and harassing the sea and air around Taiwan." Speaking to the press in Taipei, the Taiwanese premier called Beijing their evil neighbor.
China is an evil neighbor, showing its military power at the gate of our country, using military exercises to destroy the busiest lanes of international shipping. China's action has received condemnation from neighboring countries and the world. We call on China to take care of the people with a full heart, because that is the most important thing.
Taiwan's defense ministry also informed that it had fired flares late on Friday to warn off 7 drones flying over its outlying Kinmen Islands and to warn unidentified aircraft flying over its outlying Matsu Islands. Adding to that, the ministry said that the troops were on high alert on both of these areas.